Good morning. This video will be an attempt to make you very comfortable with your new Qimage, showing you how easy it is to put your images on the page and change the size or resize, make anything you want, as simple as can be. Okay, let's get started. Well, the first thing as a new user you need to do is put your pictures in the thumbnail area, or let Qimage put the pictures in the thumbnail area. In order to do that, it has to find your pictures. So if you click on this bar that says folders, I have many folders with pictures, and all I do is click one, as I have done, and those pictures from that folder appear in the thumbnails. You know where your folders are, so you have to get them. Okay, now we're starting with my pictures. Well, the first thing I want to introduce you to is what we call the zebra button. It's just a cute name for the print properties box. So if I click on this zebra button, a box opens up and it gives me my common sizes. You can change them and you can get bigger ones, smaller ones. We have a whole list of choices for you. But nevertheless, let's start with the common ones. It's easy. Okay, so let's say 4 by 6. So if I click on 4 by 6, look how smart Qimage is. It says, wow, we can put 3 of those on this 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Well, wait a minute, as long as we're talking about that, let's discuss this really fast, but it's very important. On 8.5 by 11 paper, you cannot put an 8.5 by 11 print, unless you do borderless, but we'll get that another time. What we can do is 8.266 by 10.766, as you can see up here in the top. The printer needs a little bit of edge room in order to pull and push the paper through and keep it aligned and all that stuff we call housekeeping. So Qimage takes that into consideration, and when it decides how many prints you can put on a page, it's using this number here and not 8.5 by 11. It kind of gets very important when you're doing 5 by 7s, and a 5 by 7 won't fit on a 5 by 7 piece of paper. Okay, so let's get back to what we're doing. Had we chosen, instead of 4 by 6, we chose 4 by 5, look how smart Qimage is. It says, hey, I can get 4 of those on there. Okay? Alright, now let's pick an image. Okay, let's pick a guy here. We got an image that goes on. Okay. That's 2, that's 3, that's 4. I could pick different images. Doesn't make any difference. I got the size set. Well, what's going to happen? Whoop. Look at that. It went to page 2. So we have 4 of them on page 1. We got 4 of them on page 2. That's how easy it is to print with Qimage. It knows exactly where to put them. It knows exactly how many to put on a page. You can rotate your page like that, and all I have to do now is tell it to print, and I'm in business. Okay, now let's do one other thing here while we're here. Supposing we said, 4 by 5 is a little too big. I think I maybe better make this a little smaller so I can put it in that album. The album doesn't have that big a size page. Okay, so what can I do? I can say right-click, select all, okay, and then I can change my size. Click my zebra button, and instead of 4 by 5, I'm going to say 3 by 4. Look at that. They all changed to 3 by 4, as simple as pie. I still have page 2 because, as you can see, 8 of them won't fit on a page, but 6 does. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so at this point we have our images in the queue. The easy way to start over, if you wanted to, would be to right-click and say, so clear the queue, and there we are. Okay, now let's get to one other little beautiful thing in Qimage in the zebra button again. Okay, we're going to click on the zebra button, but see this bar here on the side? This bar is now gray. If we turn it blue, okay, now when we click on a size, whatever image is selected, you see the little check mark here, that's going to pop in there all by itself. Okay, at 5 by 7, at 2.5, 3.5, at 3 by 5. So you see how versatile this is. This is absolutely gorgeous. So we'll get off of this right now because all I'm really doing is giving you a taste. Okay? Okay, the next thing we're going to touch on is just show you a few things here. Easy to get to with the thumbnails here. So the first thing we'll do is let's look at what we call the refine screen. We're just going to look at it and touch it for a second. Okay? Many of us, most of us I should say, shoot our images in RAW mode because it's easier to fix things and to get all the images able to give you from the RAW mode. It's not pre-processed like a JPEG. Okay, there's a little gizzy whopper over here. We click on that, okay, and up comes the refine screen. Now, first thing I want to say is very, very quickly, because this is an introductory video, that Qimage has a built-in algorithm that actually does all the work for you. That's not to say you can't override it or you can't do what you want with it or make mysteries out of it or even fix things. Make hotspots go away and things like that. But I did 88 images yesterday, took 88 shots, and none of them needed to be raw adjusted. The exposures were good. Qimage takes care of that for you. Because you can grab a hold of this fill button, for example, and make all kinds of stuff out of it, you know. So you could do it, but I'm just showing you what Qimage does automatically. Just for an example, if we just hold the right mouse button down here, we can see that this part of the cloud says 255, 255, 255. It's actually overexposed right up here in the cloud. Okay? Just for demonstration purposes, if I wanted to correct that, I just click on this box that contains the cloud, click on this magenta button, okay, and now if we read this, the exposure has been changed. You can see it 247, 237, like that, okay? And now we bring up the fill light to compensate for the darkening of that part. And you can see there's our image coming up nicely, and our numbers are still staying under 255, so we're not blown out there. Made it a little bit too light. Has to come down to about an 8, I think here. Should do it. Okay, that should be about right. Okay, so you can see the advantages of it. Here I've got my cloud without the blown out 255s. I've got my buildings perfect, and that's it. Okay, so I'm just going to clear out of here. I'm not going to save the changes, and we'll move on to the next screen. The next screen is called the editor screen. Okay, I'll put the image in the queue. I'll double click in the middle of the image, and I've got my editor screen. There's our picture. I didn't do the thing with the clouds. Okay, here's all my tools, normal tools. You've got brightness, contrast, fill light. This sharpen is the old-fashioned one. We don't really use it anymore. Here's your DFS. I'll get into that in a moment. But we also have a tab here that has levels. You've seen levels before, I'm sure, right? You've seen all this stuff. We've got levels, we've got curves, like that. You've seen all this stuff before. And we even have select color. I'll touch on that separately. Okay, let's get moving here and I'll show you some more stuff. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is the DFS, Deep Focus Sharpening. So I want to just go over this, so I'll get this image out of the queue by clicking on the minus sign. I'm going to pick a different image because it's a little bit easier to demonstrate. Now here I'm going to click on our friend the zebra. I'm going to change to an 8 by 10. Okay, you can see how easy that is. And now I'm going to click the plus sign, and there's our helicopter. Okay, back into the editor we go. Okay, this is going to just take a second or two. Okie dokie. Now, okay, now I have it cropped a little bit so the picture's a little bit larger for you. Okay, now we're talking about DFS, Deep Focus Sharpening. This is a real wow thing, okay? Let me just right click on this helicopter so we get a nice blow up picture of it here. And I will hold down this button so you can see the before and the after on the sharpening. Now, the usual sharpening method for most programs is called unsharp mask. Here it is. You can use it if you like it. If you're addicted to it, go right ahead. But if I click on unsharp mask, look at the halos that appear around the edges of this image. See if I can, I'll put it into the big image so you can see it. Okay, there's the halos, okay? Look at the tail here. We're looking at the tail, we're looking at the rotor blades. Look at the halos. Now you go to print something like that, it's going to show up horribly. So all you can probably do is back off on the sharpening to the point where the halos disappear. But if you're using deep focus sharpening instead of unsharp mask, how? Off it goes. Now there's one more little tidbit here I have to show you because it's so very important. You see these little grains in here? That's because the sky is so evenly blue that any little magnification shows up. So in Qimage we have a little feature built in. It's called Sharpen Everything Except This Tone. This tone is selected by eyedropper. So if I put it on, if I turn it on, bingo, the sharpening is still there, but I told it don't sharpen the blue, so everything else is sharp except the magnifying the noise in the sky. See your helicopter? On and off with the sharpening. Okay, that's enough demo on that guy. Frankly, if that didn't convince you that Qimage is a wonderful, wonderful program, whew, I got more work to do. Okay, I'm going to get out of that screen and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, the next screen I want to show you is called the Page Editor. It's perhaps the screen you're going to have the most fun with and the most creative screen in Qimage in that you can express yourself. Okay, just for a quick look, I'm going to take an image. I selected this one, I just picked it. And we're going to go to our zebra button and we're going to pick a size. I'm going to put it in at 5 by 7. But I'm going to click this bar again just to remind you what it does. It takes the selected image. Besides, you can select more than one, you know. But it takes the selected image and it puts it in there at the size you want it. Okay? So there we have a 5 by 7. The next thing I'm going to do is pick another image like this one here. And I'm going to do the zebra button. And I'm going to put this one in at a smaller size. Okay, let's take 2.5 by 3.5. Okay, we've got two pictures in there, and I can go to the page editor either by clicking on this button that says Edit Page, or I can double click any place off this screen. So just for demonstration, there we are. There's our image editor. We have two tabs. We have a cropping tab, and we have a size location. Let's stick with the size location for the moment. And I just want to run through this quickly. We can select an image and we can move it. Okay, put the image on top of another one. I can move it around the page. Getting the idea, make Christmas cards, put in all kinds of funny things that you want to do. You can put text, you can put words, any place on the image. Another thing we do, which is a lot of fun, is we can put borders. We call them mats. Okay, you right click and we say photo mat, add a mat. Okay, we're going to add a mat to this picture. And you can use your eyedropper to select the color from the picture, which is kind of nice, so you know it matches. Or you can click this and pick any color under the moon, or any shade you want, or anything like that. All right, so quickly, just to demonstrate, we pick the sand color, we say OK, and there's our border, easy as pie. Now, if we want to, we can make two borders. I select the outside one, and I right-click again, and I say add another border. Okay, this time I'll pick a different color. I'll say, okay, you guys, let's do this color. Okay, got it right from the water. Say okay, bingo. Now you got two borders. And you also can make the bottom part of the border uneven. Let's go in and look at it just so you see what I'm talking about. See where it says edit? Okay. You can change this number here only so that the bottom border gets large. And then there you can put text or Merry Christmas or look at us, we got a new puppy, or whatever you like. It's all up to your creativity. In this cropping tab, just touching on it very quickly, got to select an image to do that. You can do your print cropping in here. You can actually zoom up like that, okay, and move the picture around, and however you leave it, that's the way it's going to print. And it does not do anything to your original image, okay? So I'm going to click done over here, and essentially that's what you see here, ready to print. Any which way you want to do it. Okay, hang on. Okay, and by way of introduction, there's one more piece I want to show you here that's pretty easy. If you have your card from your camera plugged into your card reader and you click on this button, you get the flashcard copy move screen, which really looks intimidating, but it really isn't, okay? Now here's just one way to get started with it, okay? If I click edit in settings, I've got everything unchecked. I don't even use any of these fancy things. You can use them after you get used to it. That's up to you. But just showing you how easy it is, okay? They're all unchecked. So what happens is Qimage automatically sees your card. It automatically detects what images you have. My Canon only takes 100 pictures per folder, so once it goes over the folder, it creates a new folder. That's why you're seeing two folders, actually. But that has no bearing on what we're going to get. Okay, so Qimage flashcard copy move is reading your card, and the next thing we go to the middle part here, you have some choices. You can copy the images from the card to the hard drive or any drive you want, and in which case it leaves the images on the card also. You can decide to move it, in which case it'll clear the card. You can shut it off altogether, or you can develop. Develop we'll get to later, okay? But I like to copy because I leave the images on the card until I make sure everything is 100%. The middle one is something you set once and leave. At least I do anyway. That's my master picture folder. It's called C:*Pics. There's nothing in it, but it has a whole bunch of subfolders. Now my backup copy is on the D drive, D:*Pics. All I really do when I come back from taking pictures is I click on one of these guys and I type in the name, what it is. This time I went to the Venice Pier and the jetty on this and this date. That's what I put in. I tell it copy that to both columns, both rows, and then I click the go button. Okay, that's all there is to it. There's nothing left. Easy as pie. Okay? That's the whole deal right there. Okay, let's just touch on a couple of things as we close up. Down here is where you put your monitor profile, your printer profile. Qimage is telling you the resolution, which interpolator it uses, and so on and so forth. You've got control over everything. If you take a right click up here, look at all the things you can do. You can convert it to JPEGs, TIFFs. You can email from here. It's as easy as pie. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. Okay, one more thing I want to touch on. Last screen we looked at was the flashcard copy move screen. And if you recall, I said in this box, which is the only box you really have to change from one session to another, you put in some kind of a description for your folder, a name for your folder. Qimage will name your folder, you're all set. We have another box down here. This is for the database. It's a description for the database. You can put anything in here. Well, I'm going to leave it for the moment because I want to show you that you can also do it here, which is what I did, Pier, Venice, 2014. So now, if I happen to be 6 months later, okay, and I'm working with a different folder, different set of pictures, and it occurs to me that I need a picture from that pier, okay, I can click on the search binoculars, type in the word pier, like that, say add, and find me the folder. Whoa! Well, it found the folder okay. It found a different folder with the word pier in it. That's an Anna Maria Island pier from 2011. And it also found my backup folder on my other drive. But if I want to see this, I just double click it. Bingo, there we are. There's my picture for, there's my folder for the Venice pier, the one I was looking for. Okay, one more item and then we'll give you a break. Okay, I've selected these pigeons. I don't know what, just pigeons. Okay, now look what I can do. I can click on this little I button. It says, you sure you want to do this to multiple pictures? Yes. Okay, and a box comes up and I can type in the word bird. Okay, I can even put pigeons, if I can spell it. And then I say okay. All right. Now, look what happens. If at some future date you're someplace else, like that, like we were before, okay, like that, and you decide, where the heck are those bird pictures? I could put the word bird in here, okay, like that, and this time I click on photos. Click on photos, and I got not only those bird pictures, but some others that I happen to label bird also. Okay, you got the idea? Hang on. Okay, and just to make it a little more definitive, I can also do it this way. Instead of typing bird, which might give me 100 bird pictures if I was a bird guy, I can type in pigeons. Okay, add, find the photos. And I get just the ones that say pigeons. All the bird pictures are ignored. So you can see how valuable this is. It really is quite a trick. Okay, thank you very much again for listening. See you later.